All right, so there's the nice intro slide. Let's see. This is the planned voiceover series. It's going to be 3 6-week courses. Class 1, voiceover fundamentals and secrets. So it's going to go through the basic things you should know. The vocal training, not to strain your voice, do the breath, all the parts of your vocalization machine, your body. A lot of secrets. Basically, I don't see this as a competition. I see it more like a family. And so I'm happy to give away my secrets, but I don't want to give them to just anybody, right? I want to give them to people who are interested enough to take the class. So, but I'm going to give you a lot of secrets on things like auditions and building characters. And I have my own special technique of building characters, and we're going to get into it in class 1. But then class 2, that's what it's really about, is developing the technique, right? So you might even say class 1 is like the intro, class 2 is intermediate, and class 3 is the advanced one. And so we really get into developing voices and focusing on what you are good at. Are you a generalist? Are you more of a specific character type voice? Let's see if we can find some voices that you never even thought of. And we learn to do that by manipulating different parts of the mask, the mouth, the body, all kinds of things like that, while preventing strain. But we want you to have solid voices that you can continue. A big thing is if you can do it on audition, you need to be able to continue and have that voice without something called drift. Drift is, and this happens over time, where if you're in a recording studio and you're doing like 500 lines of this character, when you do the first line, does it sound like the same character as the last line? And if you don't know how to lock in voices and keep them solid, you will drift. And then you have to go back and re-record lines because you started sounding differently, right? And I mean, part of it's the director's job to watch for that, but you need to be able to do it. You need to be able to keep that voice consistent. So we develop our voices, we experiment, we see what our main voices are, and use my special technique of using I call core voices. And then we layer new voices on top of the core voices. The third one is really about career. Okay, now you've got skills, now you've got a demo, right, which I mentioned is like the gatekeeper, and then we want to get into the career. So you can see the outline here. This is what we'll be talking about. We're going to get into anatomy of the voice, body awareness, parts of the voice, and some of my booth techniques as well, and then we'll get into technical stuff. There's so much stuff you're expected to know if you come in to a booth. You're supposed to understand all the secret terminology that's on scripts. There's these weird terms that if you don't know what they are, like CM, what does that mean, right? And it means closed mouth, by the way. So if it's a sound like you're getting hit or you have to, it's not a ah, right? So OM is open mouth. But there's a bunch of these shorthand codes that you need to know, and they expect you to know. You can't come into the booth without knowing these things. So especially for dubbing, getting a microphone, using the mic properly, what you're expected to know as a voice actor about microphones, a little bit about the engineer, what the engineer does, and having a home studio, and listening to the director. That's a really important thing too. Day 3, we're going to look at building your voices. Again, that's kind of the introduction to my character voice method. And then auditions. Right, you can see we get into auditions, and I have secrets about how to get auditions, how it works. Then we'll work on voices some more, and then talk about acting on the last day, and also something that you see if you are getting auditions at all, you'll see that 80 to 90% of them now say stuff like natural voice. We want natural voice. What is that, right? And so that's what we talk about there. And then the second class is really all about getting into the characters, right? So the first day we'll go back to our fundamentals and go over that and what I call my 3 voice technique. Then we'll start building our characters in different directions, right? We want to experiment. It's like you've got, okay, these are the things I'm strong at, but then we're going to experiment and see things you can do. My student Ashley, for instance, we were able to get some voices out of her that she never thought. If you listen to her demo, her name's Ashley Seal, by the way, and if you find her demo on Voices 1, 2, 3, you can hear that she really has a lot of range, and we found those voices, right? We experimented, and so that's something you can do. More detail on auditions here, and then putting together your demo. Like, I don't do the demo in class 1 because, like I said, I don't think that people are ready until they can solidify their voices and not drift. And then we'll start looking at career. So day 6 is sort of like a prep for looking forward to class 3, and but starting to think about career. So you get some career information there, and then the career one. So part 3, agents and networking, definitely spend a whole day talking about all that, right? Like I said, there's some agents that are not really the best, or they don't really have your best interests at heart. Working for your characters, there's a few, everyone should have like their go-to golden voice, like, man, I do this really, really well, right? And so we're gonna try to find those too. But also, if you're gonna do career, it's really, really helpful to have other skills that relate to voice acting, like writing, directing, producing, right? Anything like that. Even if you're an engineer, any of that kind of stuff, right? It helps you get your foot in the door if you have other skills that are in demand. And then day 5, talking about hitting the sweet spot in your career, where you can keep the momentum going and directions you can go with your career, because there's all kinds of voiceover, like I mentioned, commercial, industrial, video game, dubbing, original animation, blah, 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 right? There's so many different things you can do with it. And then day 6 is kind of like our look at what it is to be a professional and what do you need to have, what should you have in place in terms of agency and recognition and home studio and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's basically an overview of the class. One of the things I really want to do is be honest and give a real picture of the industry, and that's what I'm going to do with the classes, and that's what I always do. When I'm at conventions, even when I speak, I'm like, this is hard, right? Even to get to my level of success. And I'm not famous, right? I mean, if I go to a con and I'm already in a niche where people might know me, sure, but I'm definitely not a famous voice actor or anything like that. But even to get to my level of success is really difficult. So, I tell people about the obstacles and the roadblocks when you do this. So I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to just say, hey, everybody could do this. I'm going to be like, it's hard. But I'm going to tell you the things I've learned to kind of get past the obstacles and to keep yourself going. And I'm looking forward to it. So if I can help people get somewhere or figure out what they're doing with their direction, then I'll be pretty happy about it.